I'm going to try to stick to subject matter that keeps popping in my mind. It's hard to stay in articulation of it, but it's as good as sci-fi. And so 'tis the season to turn on your Twilight Zone material. But what I'm seeing, and this is coming, it's just hindsight, the language that we come up with to explain what is happening. And see, the human being is highly programmable, and we are either programmed to love or to fear. Now, to love is the natural state of being, and to fear is getting more and more away from that natural shelter, that can be, that is safe and free enough to get to know our true intelligence system, which is, if you can imagine now, after having said that, the two worlds that would form under each of these two different diametrically opposite intelligences. How do they even exist? Well, one exists under the mind's desires. I guess the way that the mind works is just all it is a desire to just be there. It's hard to understand this, but that's what we mean. It's like, well, it can't be there, but its desire, in case you weren't looking, is to be there. If you look at the mind, it's going to vanish because it can't be there in existential reality. The mind can't have existential reality. And so, but there's this other one that is being, which is uh, our human state naturally, which is very complex, and that it's like, again, it's being. I didn't mention love yet, but you can definitely feel it if you go beyond mind and you take a deep breath. I mean, it's bliss. You can just feel it's like, oh my God, isn't this amazing? You know what I mean? Please excuse me. Yeah, they don't want you to feel that, let alone start having any kind of a elevated good time with each other. Whatever it is, good food, good music, good whatever. Take all the goodness out of it. Anyway, getting back to, gosh, delicate subject matter that I would just leapfrog over to try to get to how that the global population, I mean, if you can imagine how it would be programmed away from the delicacy of knowing its true self, which is love, which is really complex. I mean, that is what is staggering along here, and getting things done unconditionally. I mean, do we understand what anybody's saying here? Um, just as an operations, like like I say, like programming that goes on. Are we operating efficiently or aren't we? Um, there is evidence, and we can see it, and this is going on. Now, I'm looking at it. Well, is it purposefully done? Yes, there's a purposefully done trauma. There's the underground satanic society that gains control of minds to the point of there's a split, I guess, and there's just two personalities. One goes through this and one goes through that, and they don't know each other. Um, you can be programmed to go and do some gnarly stuff, highly trained in technical rocket science or something, and do something, and then really you're an everyday. This is what the actors and actresses are claiming that is going on. You've heard of the MK Ultra mind control, trauma bond mind control. So, but this goes on naturally. You can experience it in your everyday. And, you know, so what I'm trying to point at is, it's not always going on that it's a negative programming through traumatization, saying, well, that wasn't, you didn't really know, but now look at this. That's really how that you learn ultimately whether it's right or wrong, is kind of a constant. You should be in the state of just like fresh as a daisy. Oh, I see, I see. I didn't know, I didn't know, I didn't know. But to begin to identify, like I said, I really don't know much about it, but to begin to split off your personalities because now you are, say, like a Jeffrey Dahmer or somebody like that just knows how to split off and just, oh, I'm just going to go have a drink, and nobody knows this person over here is, you know, amazing movie, but you know, I'm trying to point at the programming that indeed is handed down. It's a hand-me-down that people don't even know. Well, how does it happen? Well, it's through abuse. Abuse. Say, well, now we're going to lead the human being astray away from being its natural self. And all that is just the possibility of it, which is it's got to get in through the mind and into its body. This is just being a toddler, and however free it can be to experience, and that includes its body. I'll say that again. Really shouldn't hurt to be here. You know what I mean? We're supposed to have fun. There is something called feeling good. See, I say it like that is because there is people more and more who have been abused. I'm looking at, and I picked this up a long time ago, that some people in their households, they don't get any kind of attention at all. And I'm not talking about any kind of attention at all. Because, I was raised in a place where we actually communicated together. At the very least, we communicated. We look at each other and we laughed because we were listening to each other, and we were communicating our understanding about each other and what's happening at the moment or whatever. We were anxious to let each other know and share. But anyway, getting back to households where you see quite the opposite. And it's like this. The only time that there is any attention at all, or say affection, well, really you get an effect from each other, like am I here or not, is when somebody is being hit physically or being socked around, or they're being verbally abused. And with that, I'm just trying to imagine, because no, you can't imagine. I mean, yeah, you can imagine it. It's there. That is training them to where the only affection and so-called love, like say the presence of somebody just being there, is felt. Love, I'll say that again, is felt only by way of through this abuse, and really shit that feels like crap to most people. But it's like they got their shitty face on and they're like, yeah, I love you too. You know, really? Please God, no. Beam me up, Scotty. Protect me. I know that there's another way. There certainly is. There certainly is, man. And I kind of experienced a little bit of it, and just a little bit is enough to go in there and start what they call colonizing you. It's like, wait a minute, you start getting confused. It's like, well, is it supposed to be that way, or am I wrong in wanting to feel good, and feel well connected and all this shit? Fuck, get away from that. Because now, here I am, I'm reflecting, no, I had an amazing relationship with somebody before Pluto went into Capricorn and squared my generation, Libra, Uranus, and Pluto. And me being a Libra, anyway, I was just out of it. And then, but the one I conducted before, I mean, none of it's perfect, but you make sure that there isn't that disrespect at that level of depth. What I was talking about in the beginning, how if it was this video in the beginning, how I would try to mention, the deeper you go with somebody, or the deeper you go with things that you see, how it really is. With intimacy, it's that way. It's just, if you're gonna, if you're at that point where you're taking your clothes off, just so grateful, thinking about my other lover of 14 years. Why would I stay with him for 14 years? Because not abusing me there. Not at all. No, I actually, a lot of, I would say this again, this is my experience, that men need to be brought up. They're wondering about the woman that's there, right? And their sex is different, and they're both sexes are different. The woman has the duty and the responsibility to slow him down and say, okay, well, good and everything, good for you, but would you like to have sex with a woman now? And I've always done that. And getting if you're following me, this I'll try to stop it at 11:11. Um, just realizing that yes, they are able to move into what I call, they begin to love you more because you show them how to make love with, say, the opposite sex who has pleasure in a different way. It's a little bit prolonged. I hate to tell you, it takes a little longer for the pleasure to be there, and it's terrible. I don't know. Good things take time, but anyway, God, getting back to just there is that programming that's there, that's you can say that it's happening right there at that vital time. When what? Why do we care? Well, what if we reproduce out of it? We are what if it's true, and it is, that science says, well, through love, through the vibrations of love and kindness and all this, if you give birth and you're growing something out of it, it's going to be more intact in its own intelligence. And now we have a whole other race on our hands. And is it a race? I mean, now, now think with me. I mean, there is that going on, right? It really doesn't matter if we're married or not, or this or that. If there's that at the union, I mean, there's many different examples of finding out if this person is safe to be around. But then there's that place where it's, unfortunately, that's where we find out, that very core where it's like, we can't go back from here. You can't tell me that you mean all of that shit on the surface when your core is rotten. Right? Right? That's the complaint. And that's where it's like the covert and the malignant or whoever narcissist, the communal narcissist, um, is using their resources and the needs of other people, in a terrible manner. And this is very much happening, the scholars would say, between men and women. Men are using that, to get at, but women are equally as guilty. They kind of deserve each other. But anyway, it's terrible, but to say that, but um, because nobody deserves to be abused at that core level of innocence and primal behavior, where these people are ripped up at the core. Like I said, that humanness. Just, it's human to be loving, but it takes work to fuck with it. Man, this is a long video now. I didn't promise you my 11:11, but getting back to how that, okay, so that they don't, there's chemistry to get to know. If you're an adult, you get to know it, and you're like, oh, I remember I remember you, I remember chemistry. I remember how it can just get better and better, and how we can make it work. If there's chemistry, it can grow. Narcissists, they are programmed. Chemistry is going along with the natural laws of the universe. They are programmed. Somehow it was happening for them to go against that, to not even trust that, to, no, that's not yours, take that out of your hands, and just be left without a single, way to the cosmos connections, or anything. It's just, you can see that now they live in an upside down, inside out, backwards way, and these are the unlovable kinds. These are the ones that are thriving on this affection that is like, wait a minute, you just hit each other, you have bruises, and it's causing PTSD to fucking observe it. Thank you for your like and subscription and description and unsubscription. I mean, boy, thanks for hanging in there. Not my favorite subject matter, because I just kind of been through it. I can see it. It's like, oh, there it is. Look at how fucking terrible this is. Terrible. People are tainting other people with their pain, right? And some people are looking at me like on Facebook, like because they read some of the material, and it's like, babes, you better get present with people and figure out who they are. Put them on mute and watch actions towards you only. And remember how they make you feel. Were you able to do that with me at all? Not really. No. Consider me just an amp, like a nuclear powerhouse of entertainment. I can go here and there, and I can talk about narcissists, or I can talk about not that at all. I would rather not. But I find it a responsibility of just being human to put an alert up, and aren't we part of this entire global, like, this organism? I'm part of the 144,000, baby. Hello. I'm just going to keep ringing and radiating like this, and you have no idea how I feel whenever I hit the truth. It's fucking hard. I am trying to rely on these abusive people who indeed have. I gotta get out. I gotta get out. I've been doing my best as a healer because I know, like I said once before, that you can bring people up, you can make them aware of a whole different field of information. You can make them aware of something, if anything, make them aware of how to make love with each other so that you're not leaving each other in a genuine funk where it's like the only way that you know that you've had an association is when you just hate each other, and you're just like, you have this look on your face and and how do you function but on the lowest of low life frequency of just trying to get a good fix going on, or whatever it is, what was happening with you fucking people. You don't even know that there's another way to live. Fucking hate talking about it, to tell you the truth. I want to get protection away from it. What about you? Do you want to find, is there a sanctuary where they say, yeah, this is it? See, I already know what it's about. Pick yourself up. Get yourself going. How do you do that here? Really? You want me to go and work the system more? Trying to get that system to work more? Come on, man. Is there a fucking place for us, man? I'm honestly, I'm thinking, I could do this. Just give me some time, give me some fuel, and I'll start making dump runs, throwing stuff out of where I live in the mountains, and just say, look, it would have to be, I guess, for women, because maybe, and whoever's a man that owns property out there, and you feel like you can't deal with being with the narcissistic women out there that are just dragging your dick through the dirt and can't seem to pick themselves up, but just makes you feel like shit. Well, go hang out with each other, and for whatever reason you thought that she had to be there, learn how to do it. Cook your own food. Do your fucking laundry. Why do men and women have to get together so fucking tightly that they're now abusing each other? And fuck it. Throwing in the white towel. Thanks a lot. Just a little whiff of this society out there that is, like I tried to explain, is on that. And to wrap it up, when you're programmed with the fear and the abuse, and now you're just running that and transferring it on people, say, here, just rake you down. It's easy. People are delicacies. Life is a delicacy. There's delicacies, gardens everywhere. You can be easily stupid enough to just go and ruin it all, and that's a cinch. Good for you. You are doing the easiest trick in the book, and that's why I say it's just the winners at the losers game. Imagine that world that is allowed to fucking just insulate itself and say, no, we are saying something here. So is those that are already achieved. What's happening? What's happening? Come on, think with me. What is happening is something of a non-human nature knows that they can grab onto the human organism in this particular way if you get enough of them programmed into fear, and then the reptilian brain, and then become one of these people that thinks that only gets a plug, and feels great when other people are miserable and looking terrible and getting shot at and feeling fucked and they can't do their well-being practices anymore, which is just to be who they are, which is what? Who knows? It's a delicacy. They had a garden of what? What were they doing? Gardening of what? Music, food, just being who they are as a nurturing person. And when you're around people that can't be loved, like the narcissist, and who their game is to torture you by their inability to be loved, you're looking like this. You're going to feel like you're being tied up like this, and at the feet, and then gagged. And so, if you like that feeling, hang out with them. Fall in love with one of those. It's terrible.